Hi, it's Michelle Cottle here at the summit with Cale Weston, who, if I understand it, spent more years in Iraq and Afghanistan than any other State Department person. Is this correct?
It's been reported that way. I won't contest
You
it.
can neither confirm
Yeah.
nor deny.
That's a long time.
So you talked a little bit out there about why you stayed, but when did you kind of decide enough?
In 2010, when we all get burned out, and I was burned out, I was thinking that the policy is not equaling the sacrifice that I saw. So it basically boiled down to kind of my own conscience getting the better of me.
Yeah, now you are not on the same page as President Obama as far as Afghanistan goes, right?
Well, I'm not one to. That's the most difficult job in the world. I have great respect for anyone who enters the arena to try and become the commander in chief. As far as how I saw the situation on the ground, I saw it differently. But of course, I have no sense of all the other dimensions that are at play. But I'm honest in my assessment from where I sat, which was in Helmand Province. So I'm not judging in that way. I just feel my job's to be honest about how I saw the lay of a very dangerous part of the land out there.
Now, is there a moment that you think kind of captures your view of what's
Yeah,
going
the
on?
first time you see a quadruple amputee in a hospital is a pretty big reality check.
Now, you were there 7 years altogether, right? Iraq and
Iraq,
Afghanistan.
yeah.
What was the moment when you're like, oh my God, I've got to get out of here? I mean, you didn't, but
It's a rewarding job at the same time as being a challenging job. I think that there's still no greater honor than representing the United States of America, even in a very, very tough place like Fallujah or Helmand or Host or Sadr City. So while you see the worst of war, you also see where the American story still resonates in these black holes, that things get sucked in that isn't just all bad. So I guess for me it was when I had a real disillusionment with this city, less the war zones or the front lines. I became increasingly frustrated with a campaign to be fundraiser in chief on both sides, as opposed to what I thought was probably a more important role. I think that the troops are an incredibly moving story in their own right, but it's how much is that policy really matching, again, the sacrifice? And I think over time I just couldn't square it.
now you mentioned out there that you didn't see a lot of heroes in Washington. Are you remotely optimistic about that changing?
I am, because I think that there are heroes all across our country. I just want more of them to come here. So I'm not I should have probably qualified that I'm not saying that Washington is only full of self-interested bad people. That's not true. But I think that the system has been broken for a while, and I think that the new administration, the continuation, has an opportunity to help correct course, and I think it sounds like they're prepared to do that. I also think that as citizens, we have a huge role in that as well. We shouldn't wait to be led by, quote, the leader. We need to do things ourselves.
Now, what's been the hardest adjustment coming back? Because
There's been many.
you basically became this huge Marine booster, and you kind of got into the war mindset, and you spent so long over there. You come back, and then what's the biggest kind of shock for you to deal with?
That everyone's basically saying the war's behind us, and it's
Yeah.
really never behind. I tried to get to that I don't want to live the rest of my life just reflecting back on war. But I think that as a nation, we didn't go to war, whereas a country we did. But within that country, there are little dots on the map that actually you could say experienced the war, and it tends to be our military bases and a few random little dots of civilians that went along with them. So it is what it is. I think that we've seen our limits through these wars. I think that we've also seen where we can still be proud about what we represent to the world. But for me, I needed a break from not only the work, I needed a landscape shift, because if you're going to get through kind of your experience, I tend to get through it better when I'm in the mountains as opposed to in a city.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, when Benghazi happened, what went through your mind in terms of, because it must have hit close to
Yeah,
home.
the ambassador represented the best of the State Department, and that I think he was prepared to say, I need to be out. I need to listen. I need to kind of get beyond the confines. I don't know the details about what went wrong. I just know that, and I think Ambassador Crocker and others will speak to this, that the role of an American official or diplomat is to talk to the average people, not just to the official people. The official people will tell you things that are fairly predictable but important. Obviously, the average guy on the street will tell you more what you need to hear.
And I'll let you go after this, but did it make you worry that it's going to push us more in the direction of having our embassies look like armed fortresses?
Oh yeah,
And do you think that needs to happen on some?
it's a very important function to be protected, so you don't put people at risk who have a very, very tough job, independent of the video and the rage that we saw for a bit. So it's a tough balance between protection and engagement, but I personally don't believe that the United States of America should tweet. I think individuals can tweet. I don't think that a nation as great as ours can communicate to any population through however many characters a tweet is. So while it's maybe one element of getting a message out, I think that the only way you break through the disconnects and the understanding is by going to where they live. And these high-level people have a real challenge of finding that balance. But if we don't do it, the barricades go up. We think the oceans are the moat. We watch our Hollywood TV, and then I think the world is still going to be less safe for us. So it's important that we tell our story. And I think there's an audience still for the American story.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the mountains. I would like to flee the city as well.
There's Leadville and Aspen. I was probably a little bit too negative on Aspen, but they're both beautiful places.
No, I like the idea of marching on Aspen and doing a little pillaging, so that's good.
I think one platoon could do the job.
Yeah, no question. But thanks so much.